Good morning, everyone. My name is Suniti Barwa. I'm a psychologist and psychotherapist. And today I'm going live from Ripple Reels, and we are going to be talking about depression. So this is a series that we wanted to do, where we cover about depression, what it entails, and also different aspects of it, and where you can help yourself, to what amount or to extent you can support yourself, help yourself, and from which point it is necessary to take professional help. Okay, so hi everyone. Hi Priya, good morning. Actually, it's good afternoon now, I think. Yes. So I think a lot of you who are following the page do know about Triple Dreams. It is an initiative by Fahish and Gopika, and they are young minds in this field. I would say young because I'm really proud of them for taking this initiative and taking mental health forward. So I'm just waving at everyone. Let's just wait for everyone to join in. So I wanted to cover a bit about what is depression today, just to understand some basic aspects of it, and maybe in some ways that which you'll be able to recognize it and help yourself. And I think when we look at it tomorrow, we will understand more in depth of symptoms, or rather emotions, which lead you to feel depressed eventually, feeling the emotion of depression eventually, and also ways in which you can support yourself better, and talking about all those different aspects. And mainly I wanted it to be a series where we can provide self-help tools to you all, where you will be able to recognize your emotions better, you'll be able to recognize what is going on with you, how are you feeling, and also have tools that can help you overcome certain issues. So I have made some points for today. So a lot of people talk about depression, and there is a lot of confusion, and some people have too much information, so it's clear. So when we talk about depression, it is a persistent low feeling, okay, feeling persistently low, where the end of these feelings are set. You feel completely helpless, that I won't be able to get out of this situation, or I won't be able to overcome these emotions. And you also feel very hopeless in terms of hope of getting over this, or hope of getting support, even to the extent of like keeping all of these emotions bottled up and not expressing them to any known person, or any friend, family, etc., or even a trusted individual, because that hopelessness and helplessness sort of inhibits you from speaking up and telling people about how you feel, because that that's that nagging sense that they will not understand, or I will anyway not be able to overcome this. So it is these persistent low feelings which deteriorate your function. Okay, by function I mean your everyday life, your social life, your personal life, work, where you are not able to continue with your daily activities the way you did. Okay, and these feelings need to last for at least 2 weeks. Okay, and to understand depression, we must also understand the fact that it is very cyclical. So these feelings drop down and they come back up, they drop down and they come back up. So it's not like I am feeling low and I will continue feeling low. In the day it might fluctuate, or over a week it might fluctuate, where some days you feel very uplifted, something happens, some situation makes you feel very happy, and some other days you might feel that persistent low continuously. But you need to see if it has continued for 2 weeks or more overall, and then you will have to reach out to a professional where you get the support that you need. Now there are different types of issues when it comes to depression, because the emotion in itself is very wide. It has many aspects to it, like I spoke about the helpless feelings, the hopelessness. Okay, these can come as feelings and even come as thoughts. So sometimes people look at them as hopeless thoughts, where these persistent negative thoughts continue in your mind, that there is no hope for the future, there is no hope to receive help, there is no one who can understand me, there is no help that I can get. And there is also this sad dejection and also very low energy. Okay, you feel like you won't be able to get up and go and eat your food. You feel like you won't make that call to a friend, or do your work. It has a very low energy in itself in your body also. Okay, so this is one. Versus feeling depressed or feeling low situation wise. Now there are situations that happen in our life which might make us feel depressed, so I'm just looking at the points I had made for today. So these situations can be like a fight with a friend, or extreme gloomy weather. Some people get triggered by gloomy weather and that leads to feeling low, etc. It can also be a situation where you have to face something challenging and you are not able to overcome it. It might lead you to feel sad, depressed, dejected, helpless, hopeless. So there are certain situations where you might feel depressed, and there are also ways in which you feel depressed throughout weeks, throughout days. Okay, in a cyclical form, like up and down it does go. These are two ways in which you can differentiate. So when you reflect upon yourself as to what is it that you're dealing with, if you have been feeling low consistently for at least 2 weeks consistently, okay, even if there are situations that usually would tend to uplift you, then it's important that you support yourself, that you are able to help yourself. And also, if it is not possible for you, please do go and reach out to a professional. Now when you go to a professional, there are different types of mental health professionals, and I think we can cover all of that through some posts or some videos in the future. But majorly there are psychiatrists and psychologists. So psychiatrists are going to look at your symptoms, give you the diagnosis, and give you certain medications that will help you, and we will talk a little bit about this. Psychologists are going to look at your symptoms and see emotions and thoughts behind it. Like I said, primarily, even if you're feeling depressed, and a lot of people think that, oh, depression is the only emotion that I'm feeling if I'm depressed. It might not be so. Okay, there might be other underlying layers or other lying other emotions also facilitating you feeling low further, and a psychologist will take a look at all of that and help you challenge them, help you overcome them, and support you in the way that you need. Also help identify patterns with you that might be repetitive. Alright, help you understand and regulate your own emotions and what is it that you are unique to. Okay, like I said, that helplessness and hopelessness both are persistent in depression, but some people even if they have hope, they might not feel like they can help themselves or anyone can help them. Some might feel like I can't help myself and there is no hope both, and some might vice versa. So that individual difference is going to be there for everyone, and this is what the psychologist is looking at. They are empowering you to resolve your issues on your own by being the facilitator in your journey to understand what is happening and how to overcome it. That is specific to you, because each individual is unique, their life is unique, the people in their lives, the environment, the situations, all are unique. Okay, alright. Now when we talk about psychiatrists, they give you medication. What are these medications doing? So when we are feeling persistently depressed, or even when there are situations going on that might lead you to feel depressed. Okay, let's say you have been in a relationship and you go through a breakup, or you go through something negative, and that leads you to feel very low, very dejected, no self-confidence, fearful about the future, having no hope of getting out of this, getting over this. So during those times also, if it continues persistently, then you might need that support. Okay, and you do need that support from a professional, or even ways in which you can help yourself. Okay, so don't let us first establish that we do all need support from time to time, and to be able to recognize that is very important. then if you do go to a psychiatrist, they are going to observe what is it that you speak, in the sense like, are you telling them about feeling low, feeling anxious, okay, and they will have a brief interview with you and evaluate the problem that you're facing. Now, every emotion or every mental health issue has to do with certain changes in the brain and the body as well. So in the case of depression, certain depletion or not enough generation, in simple words, would of certain neurotransmitters, okay, they are chemicals in our brains which are released between the synapses, okay, between the electric current of the nerves. So as you know, the brain has electrical and chemical responses, and between the electrical currents, that chemical is released. So these neurotransmitters, when there isn't enough of them, or when it is not generated enough, enough is not absorbed or enough is not generated. So during these times is when sorry, just a second, we do need the medication to help us. So the medication is directed to help you balance out those neurotransmitters again, so that your emotional upheavals might be more in control, more balanced, okay, and would let you help yourself overcome or come out of this depressed situation. I would like to call it a situation, because as we established before, that it is continuous and cyclical in nature. So like I said, in a day it might fluctuate a bit, or in a week there are a few days when you feel better than the rest, but if it continues persistently over a certain amount of time, then that is when you need the help. Okay, so the medication is directed towards this. Now, the medication doesn't mean that whatever might have been the trigger or whatever might have been the issue is gone away, or it helps you sort of overcome that situation, or manage it, or deal with it, or resolve the problem better. Okay, whatever it is that feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, dejection, depression in the first place. Alright. Now, this is where you do need the help of a psychologist, because like I said, they are going to be able to help you not only understand the emotion of depression and how it is affecting you, but also other stresses in your life, support system in your life, and give you the tools that you can use for yourself, even to work on the issue right now and also in the future. Because we can never be sure that something negative might or might not happen in the future. It might happen. We all have to deal with situations in our life, and this negative situation might occur at any time. By negative situation, I mean any kind of fight, loss of job, relationship issues, career issues, decision making, stress. Okay, so these kind of issues, we are not free from it. So the counselor or psychologist is going to give you the tools that you need to overcome the issue right now and also in the future. Okay, so even when we are talking about psychologists, there are counselors, there are therapists, there are coaches, there are clinical psychologists, and to understand which one or what kind of professional would you need, it is important to first recognize what is it that you are dealing with, and then go to a professional and get an assessment done. Usually the assessments, psychological assessments, are done in hospitals. All government hospitals have them. You can go to the one nearest to you and reach out to mental health professionals. All of the hospitals do have, government hospitals do have medical and mental health professionals who help you with this kind of assessment, so that you can understand what is happening, and then you can seek for the right help. Secondly, these therapeutic interventions can also be if you have been feeling depressed by one particular incident or situation. Okay, not consistently, but rather some particular event has happened, and that is what is making you feel extremely depressed, etc. Alright, so this is what I wanted to cover for today, just to understand and introduce you guys to what depression might be, what it might look like. Okay, so coming to a few symptoms which I noted down here. Okay, so feelings of sadness, feeling extremely sad, okay, with thoughts that you won't be able to overcome it, with no positive kind of encouraging thoughts coming to your mind, with no solution inside, feeling empty, having tears, feeling very tearful. All right, so small things triggering you, like usually these kind of situations might not affect you, but any kind of comment, any kind of situation, even maybe watching a video or a particular movie, which generally might not affect you, but if you are going through this, you might get triggered in a way that would make you feel more sad, would make you teary eyed, would make you feel empty, etc. All right. Now, this emptiness can be different for everyone. For some, it might feel like a lack of support in the sense of a physical individual, that I don't have anyone to talk to, or I can't express this to anyone. And for others, it might feel the general sense of literally in the body feeling very empty, like you are not going to be able to resolve this emptiness. It's like a very deep sense of sadness, a void, which might seem very difficult to fill. Okay. Then other common symptoms include sleep disturbance, insomnia, lack of appetite, lack of social interaction, not finding any meaning in regular activities. Okay, this meaninglessness also comes up, that what's the point of eating, or what's the point of getting up, my situation is in any way bad. All right, so these kind of negative thoughts on a loop that sort of hinder your daily functioning. So loss of appetite, not wanting to eat. Okay, and even though you feel that okay, I don't have an appetite, but I should still eat, but that motivation also doesn't come, because everything seems very meaningless, because you are in this sort of sad helplessness, hopelessness feelings. Okay. Then some other points which I want to cover is that there are going to be troubles or difficulties in thinking in certain ways, which you might have been able to do otherwise very easily. Okay, for example, decision making. If you are someone who is able to make decisions quickly, might have difficulty evaluating different sides of a situation and taking a decision now, maybe because the side allow you, all right, or problem solving, okay, or communicating. If you could communicate better, now these kind of negative thoughts hold you back, like, will I be able to speak up, will I be able to communicate, all right, will people understand? There is no point, just chuck it. Okay, so it doesn't matter, there is no point, it's so meaningless, it's so hopeless, I can't help myself. So these kind of negative thoughts on a continuous loop. All right. Okay. I don't know how to pin the comment here, so you could all see the topic for the day. So maybe for the next time I will try. Okay, all right. Because a lot of people are joining in now, but the video will be saved, guys. We will be saving it in the IGTV, so you can take a look at it whenever you are free. Okay. So also another point that I wanted to cover today is rumination. Rumination is like worrying, but it is very continuous. Okay, now worrying in Hindi that we call chinta karna. Okay, like you're thinking about what is going on or what's going to happen. You're worrying about situations. Now this can be very common for people, but when you are going through depression or feelings of depression for some situation, this rumination takes place. It's like a more stronger version of worrying, where you're consistently probably thinking about past events that affect you. All right, by past events I mean, okay, right now I'm going through an issue with my job, it makes me feel so sad and dejected. Past maybe aisa hua tha, last job also this happened, before that also I had this struggle, and these kind of strong ruminations about past failures, past hurts keep coming back, because it sort of it is like a cycle. Like I said, it's like a cycle that sort of goes on its own. These past thoughts make you feel more helpless and hopeless, and because you're feeling helpless and hopeless, your mind goes back to those other events in the past that made you helpless and hopeless in the past. Right? I hope I have been able to clear that. So these kind of heavy thoughts keep coming and pretty continuous and on and loop. Alright, so like I said, it's not just about worrying, because worrying can also be about the future, like what's going to happen, etc. But here it's more about the past, and very strong, and it's called rumination. Okay, so these are some of the things that I wanted you to think about today and go over. Alright, and we will cover more tomorrow. The whole week is talking about all this, so we will cover more tomorrow. Some points which I had on dealing with these feelings. Okay, so there are a lot of points which I wrote down, and some of them might be helpful to some might not be helpful, but it's good to have lots of options so that you can try them out and then you can see what works for you or what doesn't. Okay, alright, so the first thing I wanted to focus on is what is in my control. Alright, like I said, that depression can be very cyclic in nature. So let's say you have been battling through these negative feelings for some time now, and you do notice that, okay, in the week, on this day I tend to feel better because on this day my aunt comes to visit us every day, like every week. Okay, or let's say that on Thursdays I go for my guitar lessons, so I inevitably feel better. Alright, or let's say during the day, now some of us during the day we might have different chores. Okay, like you get up in the morning, you do your whole routine, and then you eat breakfast, or you get for your work. I know you might be feeling low and you might not be wanting to do it, but you might still end up doing it. Alright, and we'll talk about all of this in the coming days. So you still end up doing it because maybe your family is there, you don't want to worry them with the low feelings that you're having. You might be scared that if I open up, they might just like shun it, like it doesn't matter. Alright, that it's just in your head, get over it, it's fine, it'll get fine, give it some time. These might be the kind of responses that you get, and you already predict it, so you might not open up. And like I said, because of our family or friends, we might go on doing our own routine. Alright, because of certain responsibilities or pressures or etc. So evaluating that in the week or in the day, where do I have control? What point do I have control in? Let's say you play with your pet every day. That point is in my control, that particular day. Okay, or in the week, like I said, on Thursdays I go for my guitar lessons, or on Wednesdays I go for an art class, whatever it is that you do, and you know that, okay, on this day I have control. It makes me feel good, it alleviates me from all these low feelings, it helps me come out of it. Okay, so focusing on these aspects that you have control over. Alright, and yes guys, it is a task. Like I said, when you're feeling depressed, you don't have any energy, but it is about noticing that, okay, I have been feeling these emotions for quite some time now, it's been a week or two, and I think I need to understand it better so that I can seek help for myself, not for anybody else, for myself. Okay, so once you're able to say this to yourself, it will help you sort of reflect upon your day and upon your week and see which are the points that you have control over, and those points are your target points. Okay, so when you are playing with your pet, alright, you feel that happiness and you feel that joy. Why does that happen? Because it gives you a feel good factor. It stimulates you through your senses in such a way that these neurotransmitters which I talked about, right, which get hindered, the production gets hindered in the brain. I did speak about that. I'm talking in very simple language, guys, so that everyone can understand. So it uplifts, natural mood uplifter. It increases the production of norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, which gives you that feel good factor. So when you do have that feel good factor, you can sort of extend that. Okay, maybe you can take that and then continue doing something else, alright, and then feel better about your situation or yourself, and then at that time you can do some problem solving. Like I said, there might be skills that you have, like you're a good problem solver, you're a good decision maker, you're a good communicator, but when you are going through depression, that might get hindered. So whenever you are having these moments where you feel better, refreshed, you can do problem solving then. Like right after playing with your pet would be a good time to just freshen up, relax, and pick up the phone and call your friend and say, this is what has been going on. Because if you give it too much gap, then what will happen is that those neurotransmitter levels go down and those waves of depression hit you again. That helplessness, hopelessness hits you again, and that will again hinder you to take the right decision of maybe reaching out to a professional or to a friend or to a family member, etc. Okay? If you know that after a particular class or a particular situation in the week, you feel good, like I just gave a random example of having a guitar class or an art class, okay, or whatsoever, after that would be a good time to maybe eat something and listen to some music, so that that effect stays for much longer and you can take better decisions at that time. Okay, so understanding what is in my control. Now these are just very simple examples which I gave. In your day, chalk out the moments where you do have control. Like I have control over getting up from bed, I have control over getting ready for the morning. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do my work or not at the level that I was doing in, because I'm going through something, but I do have control over getting ready and sitting down for work. And the fact that you took the effort to get ready and sit down for your work itself might bring in a lot of motivation to you. Alright, so this is one thing that I wanted you to focus on. Okay, there are many other ways and we'll evaluate all of the ways, but sticking to or identifying areas where you have control is going to help you, and doing activities during that time will encourage you to sort of do more for yourself, okay, at that time. Alright, okay, so this is what I wanted you to focus on today, that what can I control, and also what depression might look like, what kind of feelings it might bring, and few major areas that we need to know, that we need to understand. Okay, now I'm not saying that only depression makes you feel this way, and there might be other emotions that hinder you. So we'll talk a bit about how stress, anxiety and other emotional upheavals eventually might lead you to feel depressed if you don't work on them, or if you are not able to overcome them. Okay, so we'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we will move on to more ways in which you can help yourself to a professional. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you liked today's short live on understanding depression, and join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I'm sorry we had to start a little early today, but I'm glad we are able to save the videos and keep it in the IGTV for you to go through later. And feel free to reach out to Ripple Dreams for any kind of mental health support, because that is the initiative, to be a platform where you can feel free to reach out. Okay, there is no judgment here and there is only support here. Okay, so I hope you do feel free to reach out to us. Okay? And thank you everyone who joined in today. I could see a lot of familiar people join in. Also tomorrow, guys, if you have any questions, do leave them as soon as you join in. Do leave them, and so that by the end of the live I can answer a few questions. Alright, so today we spoke a little bit. It will give you a bit of an idea about what we might be covering tomorrow and the rest of the week. So you can leave your questions. You can also DM your questions to us. Okay, it might not come right now. Sometimes the questions don't come at that very moment, but you can leave us your questions in the DM and I can address them during the live. Okay, alright, have a great day everyone. Bye bye. Good afternoon everyone, welcome to another live on Ripple Dreams. I'm just trying to see if I can pin the topic for today, and I'm just attempting. Okay, alright, second. Okay. All right. Great. Seems like I have not failed in this. Okay. So today we are talking about depression and different comorbidities this has. So when I say comorbidities, it means that what else along with depression is being seen in an individual who is coming in with the issue of feeling depressed. Okay. So it's not just depression that a person is going through, but more of like other issues or disorders which are with it. All right. So we are going to look at some common comorbidities. I just have some points out here, and like I had yesterday, so that we can go through whatever we have for today. Hi Suki, Sushki. Sorry. Wait. Kushi. Sorry. Okay. Hi Kushi. Thank you for joining in. So. When we are trying to understand comorbidity, it becomes very important in terms of diagnosis, because sometimes a person doesn't suffer through the feelings of depression, but rather other issues that might crop up, which might lead to the individual feeling extremely low, depressed, and all of the feelings and symptoms that we discussed yesterday. Okay, the helplessness, the hopelessness, etc. So we are also going to take a look at what are the other emotions that go along with depression, and let's say how depression sort of works in terms of as an emotion. So yesterday we discussed about depression being a disorder and depression as an emotion which you might feel from time to time as and when issues come up or situations come up in your life, and to also differentiate that from clinical depression and how one can get a diagnosis for that. All right. So first and foremost, when we talk about comorbidity, there are different other disorders which go along with depression. Okay. So the first one that I want to talk about is anxiety. So it is highly seen that anxiety and depression are comorbid. That means someone with a lot of anxiety might start feeling depressed because they are unable to deal with the anxious feelings, they are unable to deal with the nervousness, with the panic-like situations, and that really puts them in that cyclical emotional phase of feeling depressed, low, unable to help themselves, seeing no hope in the future. And there are other issues also that go with depression. Okay, so I've made some points here. Another one that we really need to look out for is alcohol use and abuse, or even drug use and abuse. So a lot of the times people will take substances to get out of feelings of depression, and sometimes it is also seen that people who are suffering from substance use or abuse is also going to feel depressed. Okay, they are going to go through bouts of depression and might even get diagnosis for clinical depression. That means their symptoms have been consistently going on since more than 2 weeks, and it is not just for a couple of days, etc. And their alcohol abuse or drug abuse is also been going on for a long time, and they have formed an addiction. Okay. Another one that we need to figure out are physical health issues. Okay, so let's say someone with terminal illness, someone with I have the points for the physical disorders, but a lot of stroke, then cancer, diabetes, HIV, and someone who might be going through other autoimmune difficulties, disorders, might face depression, or depression is commonly comorbid with it. That means if you are facing this one issue, depression goes along with it. That is called comorbidity. So people who are going through physical disorders or physical ailments will also might be victim to feeling depressed. Okay. Other times it is also about traumatic injury. Let's say you have an accident, and in that unfortunate event you lose a limb, or you have to go through very painful recovery, physical pain. That also causes a lot of anger, frustration, and depression. So Comorbidity is basically to understand that depression doesn't just stand alone by itself, but there are other disorders, other issues, in fact even other emotions that go along with depression, and we need to understand each of them to be able to help ourselves. Okay, so other ways in which we might start feeling depressed are, let's say you go through a breakup, okay, and that really leaves you hurt, and you have had past experiences of being let down by someone that you trusted, or in a relationship or a friend. So then what happens is these feelings of hurt, which probably remain unexpressed, okay, because like we discussed yesterday, it inhibits us from expressing. We feel that need to put it down and not speak up or not do anything about it, because we feel innately hopeless and helpless. Okay, so you don't speak up, and these hurt feelings continue staying, these prolonged feelings of hurt because of betrayal, or maybe because of some kind of situation where you were let down, even when being cheated on. I don't want to say that very word, but yes, that is the common word that we use, being cheated on. So even these kind of situations might lead us to feeling depressed. Okay, and then here we understand that how the emotion of hurt is sort of leading us to feel depressed. All right, they are going hand in hand. So we not only need to work on the feelings of depression, but also need to understand the other issues that are going on. So like I discussed, that someone is going through a lot of anxiety, acute or chronic, and needs help dealing with situations in life. They are generally anxious about things or people or objects, they have certain phobias, etc., which limit their daily function. They might end up also feeling depressed. Okay, so we need to help the individual, or you need to help yourself manage through that issue also, and then you will be able to support yourself to move out of this low mood, loss of positivity, diminished interests, etc. All right. Another thing, like I said, that physical diseases or physical ailments might cause the individual to feel depressed. So even for that, it is very important to process our other emotions, our general perception towards our illness, towards our disease, accepting it, working towards feeling better, and dealing with the pain that it brings, the difficulties, uncomfort, the limitations, okay, that it brings, and through acceptance of that, through working on that also, the depression or depressed feelings might move there. Okay, so another beautiful way by which we can understand depression is by looking at the thoughts that underlie it. Okay, so whenever there is an emotion, there are certain thoughts that are propelling us to feel this emotion. Okay, so with depression, there is a theme. Every emotion has a theme. It is helpful for us to understand these emotions through a theme. So the theme for depression is so the theme for depression is poor me, bad me. Okay, poor me and bad me. Yes, so when we feel that, oh gosh, I'm so helpless, there is no hope for me, it's like poor me, I can't get out of this. And another one might be bad me, that, oh, I was not able to do this task, or I was not able to do what I wanted in life, etc., etc. So there is like these two situations which together might form the theme for depression. Okay, and the easy way to understand it is by naming it as poor me and bad me. Now this poor me and bad me type of thinking is what propels us to be depressed. But as you can see, poor me and bad me, it might also cause you to feel anxious, it might also cause you to feel guilty, but these guilt or hurt or anxious feelings eventually lead to depression. So understanding these comorbidities become very important. Now let us discuss one way by which we can understand. So I just will scroll. Okay. So we need to have a very distant view of what is happening to us. Alright. So one way by which we can do that is just put on the stopwatch on your phone or your watch or whatever. Put on the stopwatch and put 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes put an alarm that it will ring after 15 minutes. Okay, and for those 15 minutes I want you to just pen down your thoughts. Pen down your thoughts as fast as your thoughts come to you. Okay, move your pen very fast, as fast as you can, and don't stop to think that what I'm writing is right or what I'm putting is somebody going to see it. You know, you can just tear up the page and burn it or throw it if you want to. You don't have to reveal it to anyone, because these might be your private difficult thoughts, but it is a way for you to identify what is going on. Okay, so put on this 15 minutes and you are going to pen down your thoughts continuously, and don't stop yourself to judge yourself that whether what you're writing is proper or improper. Rather, just go with the flow and allow thoughts to come out as much as you can. If you feel that you are running out of negative thoughts, if you feel like, you know, your mind is becoming black, you have nothing, so it's better that you just put dot 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 dot. Like, don't stop your pen, put dot dot dot, keep putting dots till thoughts come, and you can pen down those thoughts again. So finish these 15 minutes of continuously penning down your thoughts. Okay, we call this automatic writing. And once you are done with it, I want you to fold the paper, keep it aside, and just take a 5-minute break. Okay, go out of that room or go to the washroom and just splash your face with some water, or go have a drink, or put the paper somewhere inside in your cupboard, maybe close it, and then just take a walk or go to the balcony and then come back. Okay, so I want you to disconnect yourself from the environment and the paper and pen where you used. Okay, so disconnect yourself from the room by stepping out somewhere else, and you are also disconnecting yourself from what you wrote on. Once you are done with that and you come back after this short break, I want you to look at what you have written. And when you look at what you have written, try to look at it as if you are reading the writing of someone else, as if you've picked up a letter that belongs to someone else, or you've picked up some notes that is written by another person, and just give it a read. Once you're able to give it a read, you will have a lot of clarity about what is it that you're feeling. Is your low mood because, you know, you feel very scared about the future or what is going to happen to your life, etc.? Or is it because you feel a lot of pain in your body, or you're having a particular disease? Or is it because of a particular situation? Have you felt this before from childhood? So like I said, when you allow your thoughts to just come out in a flow, you will not have control over what comes out, and that allows your subconscious mind to just pour out, you know, allows your brain to just dump all those negative thoughts on the paper. Once you close that up and then take a break, what you can do is then read it. Okay, now how did I tell you to read it? Take a break, stay away from the environment that you wrote it in, come back, and now read it as if it's someone else's, so that you can look at it a bit more objectively. I know it might be a bit new to you, but it might be a way in which you can help yourself. So when you read it as if someone else's, you will be able to identify these things, and that is going to help you to help yourself better. Okay, you will come to understand whether the way you're feeling is only feelings of depression, how long you have struggled with it, what are the other things that are bothering you or fueling this or propelling you to feel further depressed. Okay, so I hope you guys are able to use this activity and see if it's helping you, and if you feel like this is something you can't deal with, then please do reach out to a professional. As I told you yesterday, if you are feeling this way continuously for 2 weeks at a stretch, okay, with no respite in these kinds of low mood, then please do reach out to a professional. By professional, I mean you can reach out to a counselor, a psychotherapist, a clinical psychologist, a psychiatrist, okay, but do reach out so that you can get the right support which you need for your life to take yourself to, you know, a better place, the life that you want to live, okay, and not be crippled by all of this. So tomorrow we will take a deeper look at the emotion of depression and the kind of thoughts that go behind it a bit more in detail, and we will also look at behaviors, okay, and then I will discuss another way by which maybe you can help yourself to understand yourself better, okay, when it comes to the feeling of depression, the kind of behaviors that it leads to, and the kind of thoughts. So please do leave us comments or DM us if you have any questions. We will be addressing depression this entire week, and different ways by which we can simplify your understanding of this crippling disorder. Okay, so I don't want to go into the kind of research that is there or the kind of statistics, because that is available for all of you to read on Google. You know, I want this, or rather we at Triple Brains want this live series to be an initiative where you feel that you are able to understand this concept very well, you're able to grasp the understanding of depression very well, and you're able to use certain ways by which you can at least identify what is going on, so that you know that feeling that no, I can't help myself, you know, these thoughts that I am so helpless, there is no hope in the future, and losing interest with yourself can somewhat be diminished. And yesterday we focused about controlling what we can do, so you can control this, okay, putting a timer and writing down your thoughts, okay, and then reading it. And then after that, like I said, if you feel uncomfortable about it, just tear up that page, burn it, okay, but remember what you wrote, because that is going to help you. All right, so please know that all these and we are providing sessions, so just DM us and we'll get back to you. All right, thank you so much those who joined me today. I hope you all see the IGTV video, and do leave your questions. I'm saying that again so that I can address it. All right, have a good day guys. Bye. Good afternoon everyone. I am going to be speaking about depression again today. I just pinned the topic for today, and I'm glad I was able to do that in one shot. So I'm a little sorry that we are starting a little late today. It's because I had a lot of work today, and my work involves taking sessions, psychotherapy and counseling with clients, especially people fighting depression. Yes. So yesterday we discussed a lot about depression and comorbidity, like what are the emotions or what are the disorders depression that go along with depression, and how they affect us, how they affect the depression symptoms further, or how it becomes more debilitating, etc. Okay, so firstly it is that today we are going to focus a lot about the thoughts. Okay, so we discussed about depression having negative thoughts, being very cyclical in nature, and also being very difficult to shake off. So if someone says that just let go of these thoughts, it's nothing, forget about it, it's not going to be helpful. It has to be a very difficult journey for someone to be in, and therefore it needs right amount of support. Now, one of the ways that through which you can support yourself is by challenging these negative thoughts. All right, now to challenge these negative thoughts, like I said in day 1 and day 2, that we first need to have those moments of upheaval in our emotions, those moments during the day or the week where we feel better, where we are able to better manage our emotions, to seize those times and then to move forward to challenging these negative thoughts. Okay, so first and foremost, it is about focusing on what you can do, becoming aware which are the days or which is the time during the day that I feel my best at, or that I'm able to do some of my routine. Okay, and then focusing on the kind of negative thoughts that come, that sort of impact you, or that sort of cause the whole issue of about having difficulty in your thoughts. Now these kind of thoughts, and I want to make it as simple as I can, that's why I'm taking some time. These kind of thoughts are very can be visual, and can be extremely repetitive, like a tape playing in your head. So example, that I won't be able to overcome this problem, or I am not good enough. It keeps repeating like a tape in your head. If it doesn't, you will get a lot of visual images of failures, past failures, future predictions of failures, etc. And these will add to the consistent feelings of this low down mood. Alright? So to identify these thoughts is where we can start to help ourselves. So focusing on what is going on, and I gave a technique yesterday, is about just penning down your thoughts to help your mind vent. And when you do that, you will be able to also see what are the kind of thoughts that you are having. And the first step is to ask yourself, what does it mean? So let's say you are going through this repetitive thought that, I won't be able to help myself, or I won't be able to overcome this problem. You need to ask yourself, what does this mean to me? If this thought did not have a meaning, it would not play in your head repeatedly like a tape. Okay? So what does this thought mean to me? And what does it mean about me? What does it mean about my life? What does it mean about my strengths, my skills, wherever it is that you are focusing? See, the example I am giving is very general, that I won't be able to overcome my problem. But now this problem can be something about skills, something about relationships, something about your ability, something about you as a person, all of this. Okay, it can entail all of this, or it can be about any of them. So it is to ask yourself that, what does it mean to me when I tell myself that I won't be able to overcome this particular issue? What does it mean about me? What does it mean about my life? So these kind of meaning questions, where you hunt for the meaning, is going to give you a lot of content that will make you understand what is happening in your mind. Okay? Now, if it means that I'm not good enough, I am not a good enough person, I will not be able to therefore overcome this problem, I am not good enough. If that is the meaning that comes in your mind, or I am worthless, I am hopeless, I am inferior, I am a loser, I am a failure, if these are the adjectives that come as the answer to the meaning, then the second part of the exercise begins. Alright? Now these are just ways by which you can help yourself. Okay guys, I want to again remind you that if your symptoms are extremely difficult, if you've been facing this issue for a continuous of 2-3 weeks, then you need to reach out to a professional. Alright, sorry, my phone is ringing on the other side. Okay, so once you identify the thoughts and then focus on the meaning, you can then ask yourself that, are my thoughts factual? Do I have facts to support that I'm a loser, that I'm a failure? Alright? You can also ask yourself that, are my thoughts logical? Is it logical to label myself completely as a loser, as a failure, as a worthless idiot, whatever labels you are giving yourself? Okay guys, it is a lot about the self-judgment that we have. So firstly, check the facts. Secondly, ask yourself, is it logical? Because we are human beings. We can't be defined by one word or 2 words or 10 words. We are undefinable. We are social beings. Okay? We are fallible. Fallible means we can make mistakes. We are failable. That means we can fail at times. But is it logical to label myself completely in this manner? Is it factual that I have failed every time, at every step, at every point in my life? Okay? And even if you are able to come up with logic and facts, which a lot of us do because we don't want to be proven wrong, then you ask yourself that, are my thoughts helping me? When I call myself a loser internally, am I supporting myself? Am I able to overcome the problem? Before I overcome the problem only, I block myself. Okay? So the last question is to ask yourself that, is it helping me? So I hope you all give a shot at this, And remember, this kind of thought challenging technique can work for any issue, okay? Even if it is relationships, if it's career, you have to check what is the kind of internal dialogue that you are having. Remember, it can be very verbal, like a tape playing in your mind continuously, or very visual, of failures in the past or in the future, or worrisome thoughts, etc. And then to identify that, what do these mean to me? This self dialogue that I keep repeating, what does it mean to me? What does it mean about me? Okay, what does it mean about my life? And then to challenge these thoughts by asking for logic, for facts, and if it is helpful or not. These three. Okay. So I hope this self-help technique, which is a method in cognitive behavior therapy, helps you, helps your loved ones. Okay. But remember, this is a band-aid at best for now, because if you are facing very difficult, debilitating issues, then you must understand that there are much more techniques available out there, and only a professional can do that for you. So please reach out to a professional. All right? If you feel that this is going to help you overcome certain situation that is making you feel low, or making you have self-doubt, or making you feel very, very unaccepted, or not loved, etc. There are so many mixture of feelings that we can go through, not just depression. So then you can try to use them. So I hope you enjoyed today's short live. I'm keeping it short because today is a very, very hectic day, very busy day for me, and I hope this short but powerful live today can help you. And I want to wish everyone all the best, and let us know if it was helpful for you. And good afternoon, Kaushik, is it? That's what I can read in your name. And Iska live thing. And I want to thank everyone who joined me today, and also to all the people who are going to watch this video once we upload it. So have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright? Bye. Take care. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live on Ripple Dreams. And today we are going to be looking at some of the ways by which we can manage our emotions, especially when it comes to depression. So I hope you guys are enjoying the series that we've done, and we plan to have more series like this on different other topics. So I'll just pin the topic for today. Alright. Yeah, I think I was able to pin it. Okay. So today we are going to be talking about how we can use mindfulness to help with these feelings, these negative feelings. So as we have been discussing in the series, that we want you to have certain tools, certain methods by which you can work on your low feelings, depressed feelings, etc. And today I'm on this mat because we are going to have a discussion about mindfulness. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is about being in the present, okay, and being like a 360-degree camera, having that kind of a view. Instead of becoming a zoom lens where we focus on one thing, where we get attached, mindfulness is all about observing. Now this observation can be about your environment, or even for yourself internally. And why mindfulness is helpful? Because we tend to be either in the future or in the past. We have discussed this in our series, that how we always tend to think about the future, about what's going to happen, what's going to go wrong, or we are thinking about the past, like feeling guilty or feeling sad, depressed about what went in the past. What is it that we did, or what is it that happened, what we couldn't control. So these kind of thoughts sort of lead us to feeling depressed and feeling anxious, etc. And we also discussed that how anxiety and depression can be comorbid, they can overlap, or prolonged anxiety can cause depression, and how depression is cyclical. That means There are days or there are times during a day where your mood might lift up and go back down again. And during these lift up times, either it doesn't mean that it's positive. It might just be an upward rise, that from feeling low, you start feeling angry or anxious. It goes up. Okay, so again, you are in the future or you are in the past. So when we use mindfulness, we focus on being present. Now, how can we be in the present? It is about observing yourself, not like a zoom lens, but like a 360-degree camera. Complete observation of yourself. How does my body feel? How is my breath? What kind of thoughts are coming? Can I let these thoughts go for now? Not to get attached to these thoughts which are going to intrude. So being mindful is about accepting the fact that if I become quiet and in the present, thoughts are going to come. They will intrude my mind, because that is the whole purpose, right? Either going into the future, thinking about it, or being in the past. But where is our body? Where are we living? In the present, right? So it is about bringing the mind in the present to tackle these negative feelings, to understand. So in yesterday's live, I spoke a lot about the negative thoughts and how one can challenge these thoughts. Once you're able to challenge these thoughts, you will be able to change them and help yourself. But to challenge these thoughts, you need to be extremely present. You need to be able to observe yourself fully. You need to be able to understand how is it that you're feeling or what is it that you are going through. And that can come only when you are in the present. You are observing yourself fully, not judging yourself for feeling restless, for feeling depressed, for having these negative thoughts. Okay? Not even becoming attached with any of the thoughts. Like, don't hold on to any of the negative thoughts that intrude your mind and go ahead with it. Carry forward that, oh yeah, I had to call my friend and then, last month also I didn't speak to her and she must be feeling bad. I really don't have anyone in my life. And just, going forward in that negative train of thought. Don't get attached with the thoughts that come. Use the exercise to just be in the present. Now, I know that this is difficult, and so do you. It becomes very tough at times. So we need to start small and slow. So it's about taking 5 minutes every day to be in the present, to be mindful. Alright? And then incorporating this mindfulness in every activity that you can, bit by bit. So how can we be mindful every day for 5 minutes so that we train our brain to, accept this being in the present? So first and foremost, we have to come from a position of being curious. We have to come with full curiosity that how is it that I'm feeling? Trying to feel everything, trying to go through every point in our mind, that all the negative thoughts that come, trying to go through every situation is going to become analyzing, but observing them, that okay, I am in this situation, this is how I feel, these are the thoughts that are coming, and curiously observing कि क्या है, let me see today, really observing yourself curiously. So what you can do is just take a deep breath and focus on taking these breaths. Just stay with your breathing. Breathing, where you are just observing, how is my breathing? Is it fast or slow? Is the air that comes out from my nostrils cool or warm? Is my breathing heavy or light? How do I feel about my breath? How do I feel about my breathing? And just allow these thoughts to come and pass by. Allow them to come and pass by. Observe, allow the answer to come and pass it. Like, let it go. Let it pass by. If any other thoughts come, any other situation or problem, observe, okay, this is what I'm worried about. It seems to keep coming. Let it go. Okay, this is what I'm worried about. It keeps coming. Let it go. I'll think about it after I'm done. I'll think about these thoughts after I'm done. And just allowing yourself these breaks. And what happens is, when you are doing mindfulness for 5 minutes every day, you can slowly make it 6. Make it 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. And have a goal that every day I'll do it for 5. And when you feel that 5 minutes is becoming a breeze, it's very easy for me to just be in the present for 5 minutes and not let thoughts and feelings cloud me, but rather I'm observing them pass by because I'm curiously sitting with myself. How is my breath? Being very curious. See, breathing is something that we not think about, right? We just let it happen. So being curious about it will let you also become curious about what kind of thoughts are coming whenever you are faced with a negative situation. And when you are able to identify these thoughts is when you can challenge them. So if you want to know again how to challenge your thoughts to be able to change them, and we'll talk about changing them tomorrow, okay? You can go back to yesterday's live and go through the video which is on the IGTV on how we can challenge our thoughts. Alright? So this is one way of being mindful. The same concept you can apply to all your everyday activities. So let's say you're going for a bath and you stand under the shower. Just feel the water falling on your body. How do I feel? Do I feel cold? Do I feel refreshed? Does it make me feel calm? Does it relax me? Does the flow of water just washing me make me feel good? Stay with the present feeling. I'm not saying for the entire bath you have to do this, but just 5 minutes of the bath. Okay? If you are in a rush to go somewhere, you won't be able to do this activity. But on a daily basis, whenever you can. You can do the same thing for your food. Let's say you decide that, okay, evening tea I tend to have on my own because I'm in the middle of work and I don't sit with family and have like I do with lunch or dinner. So when you're having your evening tea, at that time you can sip the tea, you can smell it, sip it, taste it in your mouth, and just be curious, how does tea make me feel? How do I feel about this? So that you can enjoy that moment better. And these are small ways in which you can train your brain to be more in the present. And slowly you will notice that this kind of practices help you manage yourself better, manage your emotions better, manage your thoughts better. It will allow you to move into these negative thoughts and to analyze them to be able to change it. So these are certain simple mindful practices that I wanted to share with you today, which really help with depression, okay, and which also help with the other emotional upheavals that go on behind the scenes of the depressed feelings that you're having. Okay, again I would like to remind you that if you are facing the symptoms of depression for more than 2 weeks continuously, please reach out to a professional. And these videos that we are doing on Ripple Dreams are more of self-help tools. It's for everyone to practice. You don't have to have depression to practice this mindfulness. Even if you are stressed, you can do it. Even if you're having relationship trouble and it really bogs you down, it really makes you feel so alone, so lonely, maybe you feel trapped, whatever it may be, it will help you. Because it will help you understand yourself better. It will help you observe yourself better, and then you can move slowly towards self-love. So the things you need to remember for mindfulness is to not judge yourself, to be in the present, to observe, and whatever comes, to allow it to pass. Don't become a zoom lens. Stay in the 360-degree camera where you are just observing. Don't get attached to anything. And with full curiosity, because the element of curiosity is what is going to keep your attention in the present. So I hope today's short live was again helpful. And if you want to know more details about what kind of symptoms depression has or what kind of comorbidities, you can go and check out the first 2 days of live, because those are much longer, where I have covered these points, and I wanted to keep the rest of the lives very practical for self-help. Okay, I don't want to give you something complicated that you might not be able to use, or some kind of activity which might not make sense. It's better that you use some simple tools, simple activities which you can apply every day, and it is really going to allow you to have the time you need for yourself. Another thing that happens with a lot of people who undergo depression is that there is a want to do a lot of things at the same time, and maybe not being able to do also gives you that theme. Remember, I had spoken about every emotion having a theme. So the theme for depression is bad me and poor me. So that poor me, bad me keeps repeating. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do it. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I can't help myself. I'm so hopeless. I'm so helpless. And we slowly get sucked into this negative whirlpool. All right. So therefore, it becomes important to apply mindfulness in the everyday activities. Like I said, daily you can sit for 5 minutes with your breathing and train your mind, and you can use the same one way to sort of introspect on your issues and focus on the negative thoughts and change them. Okay, even the same mindfulness you can apply to everyday activities, so that instead of being in the past or worrying and ruminating, or being in the future and again overthinking, overanalyzing, you be in the present and you can enjoy the moment. And it really can help you, have these feel good hormones. So like I said, workout or being active releases endorphins, which are natural mood uplifters. But what is the one thing about workout which is not about the future or the past? When you're working out, you are focusing on doing those squats, or you're focusing on the walk, or you're focusing on the running. All right, when you're doing the activity, you are very much in the present. So when you are doing any other activity which makes you be in the present, in the here and now, to do it, to be mindful, it is also going to allow your body and mind to feel the same way. Okay, and it really does help uplift your mood too. So just try it out. Try the 5 minute sitting with your own breathing. Try the mindful sipping of tea or mindful bath. Okay, or if you are going out for a stroll, just be mindful at that time. Observe your surroundings. Okay, if you are taking a break from work, or you just want to detach yourself from a stressful environment, step out and be mindful. All right, so just try it. Try being mindful for a few minutes every day and see how you can become more and more mindful, and use this, increase the time more and more to sort of help yourself. Okay, and use the same concepts again when it comes to understanding the negative thoughts that are bogging you down and how you can overcome them. Again, guys, I would like to tell you, please check yesterday's live on how one can challenge their negative thoughts. And tomorrow I will be talking a lot about how we can change these negative thoughts. But before we can change, we need to pen them down, which I talked about, and we need to be very mindful to observe ourselves. And once we have these in our pocket, these tools, we can much easily, overcome certain issues. Okay, so do reach out to Ripple Dreams if anybody is in need of a session. If you feel like you need to reach out to a professional, I am available here, and my team is also there with me if you need more support. And you can check out the ISKA page as well, which is in collaboration with Ripple Dreams, because we also have a lot of lives there which can help you. And we will be starting or having more series here on Ripple Dreams, and basically on self-help. Okay, because we want it to be a page where you can come and get one point or one message or one activity that you can utilize and just is able to add to your life in a positive way. Okay, then have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Bye. And welcome to the last day of the live series on depression here at Ripple Dreams. I really want to thank everyone who has been joining us every day, who have been following the video series, and please let us know what other kinds of topics you would like, etc. So if you have been following our series, you will know that I did speak a lot about depression from different perspectives, and also understanding it as an emotion, as a disorder, and ways to deal with it. So today being the last day, I wanted to talk about changing the negative thoughts. The thoughts which really hold us back, okay? Now some of the times they are like a dialogue, like a tape in our minds. And I have told you guys that one can have multiple ways by which you can observe and come to know about these thoughts, okay? Then these negative thoughts can also play out in the background, okay? For example, if someone is out there who might feel extremely pressurized by work, or is in a situation where work is very demanding and they are not able to perform, or they are having issues with their own dreams or careers, or what is it that they wanted, such an individual might succumb to feeling anxious, feeling stressed, and also depressed. So when we are talking about depression, there are certain types of thoughts which are categorically for depression, and we call them hopeless beliefs, helpless beliefs, and unlivable, unworthy beliefs. Okay, so there is a lot of unworthiness, that I am worthless. Okay, there are unlovable beliefs, that people will not accept me, they will not want me, they will not include me, I'm unlovable. There are also hopeless and helpless beliefs. Okay, and these can be in combination, all four can be there, one of them might be there, or all of them might be there and one of them might be dominant. So whenever certain kinds of thoughts play, it is more in the conscious mind, where you can be aware of it going on like a continuous dialogue in your mind, which you don't have control over. But if you take a pause to reflect or vent it out on paper, or even be mindful, and I spoke about mindfulness yesterday, so you can check out the video for yesterday and just go over it to help you, then you might be able to put down this clutter, this negative clutter of your head that's going on continuously in your mind on paper, or be able to observe it objectively. When you do that, you will see that there are certain themes to these thoughts, and these primarily they fall under the ones that I just spoke of: feelings of, or thoughts and beliefs of, being unloved, being hopeless, helpless, unable to help self, and worthless, unworthy. So you need to identify which of these themes are the strongest for you. Okay, and know that this is where you need to work on. Okay, now again I am telling you that if it is overwhelming for you, and if you're unable to do this, then please seek professional help. Also, if the symptoms of depression have been continuing for more than 2 to 3 weeks continuously, okay, then please seek professional help. Reach out to a counselor, clinical psychologist, psychotherapists. I'm a psychotherapist, psychiatrist, okay, any professional who can guide you better, and will also refer you to the proper individuals to support yourself in this. So this video is more to understand the kind of themes that are playing and how one can sort of support themselves through this. So like I said, when the thoughts come, the negative thoughts, and they are very, very difficult to deal with, one of the methods by which you can do is by challenging them. And how do we challenge? We check if our thoughts are factual, if they have facts. We also check if our thoughts are logical. We also check if our thoughts are helpful, okay, if they are helping us. And if these are not happening, if our thoughts don't have logic, if our thoughts don't have facts, are not helping us, okay, especially the last one is very important. Sometimes certain thoughts might have some facts in the past, or might have some logic to them to an extent, okay, but they are certainly not helping you reach your goal. So you have to ask yourself, how can I look at this situation differently? Is it possible? Is it possible? Okay, and being the question, can I look at it differently? Is it possible for me to look at this differently? Don't expect the answer to come in day one. It is not possible. Okay? Because if the situation were so easy to handle, if these negative thoughts were so easy, then you would not need professionals, right? You would not need certain methods or guidelines to even have self-help. But being in the question itself, that are my thoughts helping me? I can't see any evidence for that. Can I look at my situation in a different way? Just being in this question mode is going to help you come up with answers slowly. Okay? You have to be patient with yourself. You have to. That is the crux. Patience with self in able to overcome your issue is going to help you greatly. Even when you are seeking help from a professional, it is going to take time, because what happens is we end up feeling completely overwhelmed, where our issues don't even feel till here. They've sort of drowned us. They've gone up the mark. Yeah. So at that time is when we reach out to a professional, and it really does take time to overcome these issues. And by time, I don't mean endlessly for years on end, but I do mean that a certain number of sessions which are mandatory to do, a minimum number. So I personally would recommend 10 to 12. Maybe those 10 to 12 can be done over 3 months or 6 months, depending on the frequency, duration, etc., decided by a professional. Okay. And if you are trying to help yourself overcome certain negativities, certain feelings of depression, etc., then you can use these self-help methods which I spoke about. You can check out the video series. And being in the question mode every time, okay, every time you are bogged down by these negative thoughts, be in the question mode. Can I look at it differently? Can I look at myself differently? Can I allow myself to be not defined by one word, unlovable, worthless, and understand that I'm a human being of multiple qualities. I cannot be defined. I'm undefinable. Actually, that is what I am. A person is undefinable. Whatever behavior I'm doing can be changed, just like every other habit can be developed. Any habit can be developed, anything can be practiced. Behavior can be changed, and I am not my behavior. I can overcome this. This kind of positivity, this kind of motivation internally is going to come after you have allowed yourself to be in the question mode, that can I look at my situation in a different way? Are my thoughts helping me? If they are not helping me, then can I look at it in a different way? And yes, there are other methods that support this. For example, I spoke yesterday of expressing yourself on paper and maybe burning it and releasing those thoughts. That can get you more, sorted in terms of understanding what's going on in your mind. Okay, practicing mindfulness, and not just as an activity of meditation, etc., but in everyday activities, like you can practice it during eating, practicing during your bath, etc. Okay, so these practices will also help. Working out is going to release natural mood uplifters. Okay, that also is going to help you. If you practice a hobby, that is going to also support this. So yes, there are other ways to support yourself, and on Ripple Dreams we do share a lot of ways by which you can do self-help. You can support yourself, but the essential crux is for an individual to be in this question mode, that can I look at my situation differently? Can I view myself differently? How else can I think at this moment? My thought is not helping me. I can't seem to find any logic in it. So can I think differently? Can I look at my situation differently? And being in this question will allow you to find the solutions, or find an answer, or find a different perspective to it eventually. Maybe not the day you start, maybe not today, but definitely after a few days, after a week, but provided you are staying at it. Okay, so we say that 21 days are needed to develop a new habit. So even to develop a new pattern of thinking, certain amount of time is needed. And like I said, that's why guys, that even if you do reach out to a professional, then too you will have to allow yourself that time to go through the process and the journey of healing, go through the process of counseling, of psychotherapy, and that is going to give you the kind of results that you need, which is going to prevent relapse. It is not going to let you fall back into this kind of a mode, or get sucked into the negative feelings, or fall into a trap again, okay, of self-loathing, worthless, hopeless. Okay, yeah. So that is what's going to happen. So you have to allow yourself that time and let that work out. So with this guys, I will be wrapping up the live. So I spoke today about how we can change our thoughts. We have spoken a lot about different methods during the entire live, and I want that those of you who have joined us, go through the live videos and keep going back to them. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, go back to the live video and see what is it that I have picked up from here which helped me earlier, and what can I pick up more. Every time you might be able to pick up more points from a particular session. Like even today's live video, if you go back to it, maybe after a week again go back to it, then you might be able to understand it or view it or listen to it in a different way. Okay, so I would like you to go back to each of the live videos, because I have covered a lot of things that can help you, and sometimes it is not possible to give very general suggestions and give very general self-help tools. The ones which I have given you, I have tried my best to keep it as general as possible, but it might not be for everyone too. We have to understand that we are unique individuals. If you want to use very simple language, we are all wired differently. We are unique individuals, and therefore everything might not work too. So you might need specific support for yourself, but still do go through the videos and try to use them and see what helps you, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and you will be able to better support yourself in the future too. Okay, so sometimes a lot of people want to go to a counselor and say that, just I have this problem, tell me what can I do. And like a counselor, yes, does have a lot of techniques, but I'm not sure if this particular technique I tell you is going to work for you or not. Or suppose I give you a suggestion, if that suggestion is for you or not, I wouldn't know. For me it might feel like it will work for you, but will it? So therefore the whole journey of counseling is about how you both can evaluate your problem, by both I mean you and the professional, and then overcome it through different techniques. Okay, and your own efforts too are going to be important, because like I said, that counseling can't be endless, but a certain amount of sessions are needed, and I personally recommend 10 to 12. But after that, whatever worked for you in counseling, whatever tools were helpful, to practice those for supporting yourself to prevent the relapse. Okay, so like I said again, go back to the live videos so that you can pick up something or the other from each of the video every time, and go back to it again. Okay, and there are a lot of professionals doing a lot of work this way by keeping lives, and I'm sure you will be able to pick up on a lot of ways to help yourself, and applying them and using what works for you again and again, so that you can support yourself. Okay, so be in the question mode, guys. How can I look at my issue in a different way? Okay, how can I look at myself in a different way? Is it possible? Can I find logic in my thoughts? Can I find evidence in my thoughts? Is it factual? Are my thoughts helping me? Do my feelings help me? I'm not saying let go of them. They are illogical, bas dimag se nikal do. It's not possible. Our mind can never be empty. Okay, if I tell you don't think about an elephant, you're going to think about an elephant. If I tell you don't think about ice cream, you're going to visualize an ice cream. So our mind can never be empty. Therefore it is imperative that we don't just try to dump a thought. Okay, this thought is not helping me, chuck it out. No, it's more about how else can I view it. Replace the negative thought with a less negative version, and a lesser version after that, and a lesser negative version, till you can replace your negative thoughts completely with positive. See, it is unrealistic to go from negative to positive, but you can definitely go from 0 to 10, then to 20, then to 50, then to 100. Okay, so it is a gradual process. From negative we need to come to neutral, then positive. Alright, because the situation that you are in might actually be very, very, very negative, and it is natural to feel very low, feel very angry, hurt, depressed, whatever you are feeling, whatever mixture of emotions. It's very natural. Alright, but is it helping you? Being in the question mode, and can I look at it differently, is going to be able to replace those negative thoughts. Okay, so I end the live here, guys. I hope the series have been helpful for you all. Please DM us your requests, and we will start more such series soon in the coming month. So we hope to keep a series every month, and I'm sure that most of you can be helped from this. And again, even if you feel like the series has not helped you, because like I said, everyone is unique. So then please feel free to reach out to a professional. Okay, you can message us on Ripple Dreams too if you have been feeling like you need some support and you want to reach out to a professional. I am available, and you can just reach out to us. Don't hesitate. All right, have a great day ahead, guys. Bye bye.